We are live, I think. Hello, everybody. Now I just have to find the comment section.
Yeah.
So I can, Are you guys so glad that I'm so, oh no, I just started another one. I'm so technically savvy that, I know how to do this stuff. There should be, sometimes there's a button that says, like, this is your dashboard, and then you can see, things. And I don't see a dashboard right now. So, hello. Oh, yes, Emily. Hi, Emily.
Yay!
And then we have Mary, Vintage Camper Gal.
Oh, hey.
Hi,
She's still watching the movie. It's okay, you can pause it. We will spoil it.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. So I know, and we started on time tonight, so I feel like a lot of people are like, well, they never start on time, so I will show up in about like 5-10 minutes. And that's okay. But we're getting it together this month. So hello everyone, welcome to the live stream to talk about 1959's Some Like It Hot, which is a favorite of mine, starring Tony Curtis, Marilyn Monroe in all her gloriousness, and Jack Lemmon. And with me, as always, are I was going to say, like, the good angel on my shoulder and the bad angel, but you guys kind of both sit on both shoulders, so.
Which one of us is which?
Exactly. Depends on the day. So with me, as always, we have... That's just never works. They never play along, ever.
You're just pointing and we can't see what you're pointing at.
I'm pointing at you guys! No! So the sarcastic one in the purple hair.
Oh, thanks. Now I'm the sarcastic one.
Is Heather from How to Be Fancy. The ginger sarcastic one is JL from A Modern Retro Gal. But you guys know that, I feel like.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
So far, we've got Mona. Hello. She says she's trying to get us on her Plex TV app.
Ooh.
I feel like I've learned so much about new things, new technology when we do these things. Jen Sunset's here. She's loving the glasses that Heather and I have going on. Heather has taught me that you don't just buy one pair of glasses. You get yourself a nice little collection of them because it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Super addicting, too.
Yeah. And Cecilia Kitten says hello, and Nicole says, we all look very pretty. Thank you, Nicole. I literally feel like I should be given an award today for actually getting out of my pajamas. Just going to say. And I'm going to spoil it because guess what? The bottom half of me is pajamas.
Don't tell the slipper
is ruined.
Yeah, don't tell the latecomers. They'll never know.
Oh.
So hopefully you guys have been having a good day as well. This month, Heather was our researcher because we thought this one would be really appropriate because the Valentine's Day is coming up and we are not your normal group of ladies and we're not going to do something like super mushy, so we decided to do a movie that contains highly inaccurate facts about St. Valentine's Day Massacre here in Chicago, which, as a lot of you guys know, I am a gangster tour guide here in Chicago. But I will say, well, I'll talk about how I feel about that part of things, but
I was going to say, I kind of left that part. I figured you could cover that. Seemed appropriate that you should.
Heather was like, I'm not taking that on.
I'm not going to research that. You got the expert. Yeah, so as far as the film goes, I think I feel like a lot of people have seen Some Like It Hot. Like, it's one of the top comedic films of all time and all of that good stuff. But when I was rewatching it, I have to say that, first of all, I guess I never really fully appreciated Jack Lemmon until like an adult, being an adult, but loved him first of all. The film itself was nominated for an Oscar. It won for Best Costume Design, which I thought was pretty cool since it is a film set from 1959, but it's actually set in 1929, so it's a period piece, which I always forget about until I obviously watch it. And then it won a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, Best Actress, Best Actor, as far as Jack Lemmon goes. So it's obviously highly acclaimed, and I think we all still appreciate it today. It definitely stands the test of time. Couple of interesting facts that I didn't realize was Marilyn Monroe was actually pregnant when the film was filmed. And so that's why I had always wondered why she was very statuesque in the film, if you notice, with the costumes and things like that. And so that's the reason why she suffered a few miscarriages during her lifetime, and this just happened during a period where that was, which kind of brought everything down for me, I think, in rewatching the film, because you can kind of see how that played out. Just even in her acting, I think Billy Wilder directed and wrote the film, and he said that obviously they had such a hard time with Marilyn. She would show up late to set, which was not uncommon for her. I think that was a well-known thing in her career, but it cost the film $500,000. So, just a little bit. So Miss Monroe was not invited to the wrap party. And then a couple of other things. We've talked about the Legion of Decency before. This is one of the only American films that was ever condemned by the Legion of Decency.
Emily? What part?
I'm not sure, but it was originally also banned in Kansas because it wasn't deemed appropriate for Kansans. I'm assuming, of course, it was because of the cross-dressing.
See, now this is so funny because I was thinking it was because of some of the amazing dresses they put Marilyn in that very much made it seem like she was naked on top.
Mm-hmm. No, apparently it was the cross-dressing that got them.
Emily says she's always watching. Our head of the Legion of Decency.
So funny and random. So those are just a few interesting facts, and then I thought I would leave, since it is kind of like mob film / comedy, I figured I'd leave the St. Valentine's Day Massacre up to you, Jen.
Madison is saying that Ori Kelly made those fabulous dresses.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, like always, thank you very much, Heather, for researching that this month. I love all the Marilyn details because I remember watching that movie Marilyn and Me. Is that what it was? So when you were talking about that, I was like placing it in the timeline of that movie, so that was kind of cool. But of course, we got to go roundtable and overall, and you guys in the comment section, I will correct history, do not worry. And you guys in the comments as well, let us know as we go around roundtable, and did you like the movie? And I'll start with Jill.
Yeah, I loved it. I've always loved this movie. I think it has some really great one-liners because of the cross-dressing, the situations that they're in. I don't know. I just think that it was really well written. Even Matt will sit down and watch it with me because he loves Jack Lemmon and he loves Tony Curtis movies. Mm-hmm. So this is sort of like all in one because he was sort of watched, especially Jack Lemmon, like more when he was older, the movies that he did. But this is one from his younger years that he likes. So yeah, I love it.
Yay, thank you. What about you, Heather?
Yeah, I definitely loved it. I think, again, in the researching phase of things, I guess brought the tone down for me a little bit, just because it's just that last little bit of Marilyn's life, which always kind of makes me sad when I think about all of that. But of course, I loved it. I love Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon. Like, they just make the film for me. And I think it's such a unique thing to have filmed during that time period too, I guess, like that late 50s, early 60s. It would have been a controversial film, so I just enjoy that they like totally embraced those characters and went for it. And then also Joe Brown, who plays Osgood, love him. Like, he's one of my favorites, and just the whole thing, I just love it. Yeah.
Zowie!
Zowie, yeah.
This is actually one of my all-time favorite movies, and I know I might get a little bit crucified for this, but I'm not a huge Tony Curtis fan. There is something about his voice that I find very affected. When he's quiet, he is a beautiful, beautiful human being. I mean, absolutely stunning.
Here's like, shh, don't talk.
As both a man and a woman. I mean, he really does make a beautiful person either way. And yeah, to me, this is, even though given all the issues they had with Marilyn during the filming, to me this just feels like it captures Marilyn as a whole person, because in this performance she doesn't seem as, like in a lot of them, she's very like overly breathy kind of thing, and it's like, I'm sorry, you can't really hold an entire conversation like that, you know. And to me it just captured her true like comedic timing, and just, I don't know, it just, and like you said, Heather, maybe it's a little bit of knowing what was coming so soon after this, but yeah, I don't know, it felt like it captured a little bit more of the real Marilyn to me, and I just thought everybody was just amazing in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, let's see, I'm going to catch up on the comments. Mona says the last time she was in Chicago was for a taping of Jerry Springer. Like, how trashy is that? No, it's kind of awesome. Kind of trashy awesome. Vintage Camper Gal, who is midstream in the movie, it's her first time watching it, and she's loving it. So yay, I'm so glad we could introduce you to this film. Emily says, and Legion of Decency is always watching. You know what's hilarious is the idea of if Emily was actually in charge of the Legion of Decency, like all the indecent things that would get through, and then like all like she'd be like cutting out like the idiot things, like, oh well, you're just a moron, that's out of the film. So, you know, she'd be like, cross-dressing men, go for it. Emily says, we're good with Marilyn's tatas, but Jack Lemmon in a dress? No! And Robin is saying this kind of what the film that kind of took Jack Lemmon over the top, even though he was already famous, this really made it for him. Mm-hmm. Out of Doors 5 says one of her favorites, Jack Lemmon was hilarious, and I believe when we mentioned this in on Facebook, people were saying like Jack was just the total steam sealer in this movie. Mm-hmm. Emily also says this was her introduction to Marilyn. Her dad rented it for her, and Vintage Camper Gal, great actor choices. Mm-hmm. Alicia says, love so much, a lot of tongue-in-cheek banter, such good comedy timing. Oh, absolutely. Mona says, oh, may 1,000 fleas infect your armpits. Mona, I think I missed something. Emily says, you're so hot until you talk. There's so many people like that in this world, though, right? Mm-hmm. Brandy says, I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect. Mona says, shame on you, Jen. He's gorgeous. Vintage Kitten is here. She is in the house. That's not what she said. She just said, hi, everyone. I made her into a bad white.
Really hot on the top.
Yeah, Yolanda does like, I'm into his house. Uh, there's an issue with YouTube. Voices are not synced, and the video keeps blacking out. It could. Well, it let us know if anybody else is having that problem.
There was one little spot where I noticed for me that kind of happened, but I feel like it's corrected itself. So I don't know if it's still going on, but I did notice there was a little bit of an echo, and then it looked a little bit like we weren't in sync. But for me, at least, that's corrected. So I don't know.
Mary says she believes Jack Lemmon has been in a dress before. Emily says, Wyatt says hi! Hi, Wyatt! He's adorable.
No.
Alicia says she loved Jack and Tony in The Great Race 2, which I have not seen. Oh, Fleas refers to Tony Curtis and being hexed. I don't want armpit fleas! Take it back! I take it all back! And Emily says, yes, you are right. If I was the head of the Legion of Decency, there would be all the drag and none of the morons. Hildy, hey! I believe this might be the first time Hildy's shown up. I've seen her around a lot around the Instagrams and the Periscope, so glad you made it tonight. She has watched so few old movies. Shame on you. Well, that is why we are here. We are here to correct all of that. Yolanda says Jail and her have the same chop. I love it.
No, I went to Forever 21 and I found it. It was the only one that I could find from her haul that they had mine.
Well, no, actually, Yolanda says, girl, you wearing my sweater.
Twinsies.
Are you creating everyone's alter ego tonight?
Interestingly, Yolanda just said that Tony hated working with Marilyn.
Yeah, I think so. Well, and also, I think in my research, I read that Tony was also in a lot of therapy during that time. And so that may have played a big role. I think Jack Lemmon had to kind of encourage him in really pursuing the role even. So it may have not been fun times on set.
Well, more power to them as actors then, because you can't tell in the film.
Yeah, the chemistry is really good between all of them.
Especially the romantic scenes he hated working with her on. See what I mean? You gotta take the hex off of me. Right? I don't know, maybe Marilyn ate a lot of garlic and he didn't like it.
If your life is having to make out with Marilyn Monroe during a movie, then you just need to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Hey, if I could put up having to make out with Tony Curtis in a film, he can put up with having to make out with Marilyn, right? Did I tell you in my film Tony has no lines?
I actually don't even think they used his voice in this film. Maybe that's why you like it. Like when he was, hold on. Oh no, it was Jack Lemmon. It was him, because he couldn't carry the female tone as Daphne, and so they had to dub a lot of his like female voices, because he would just lose his voice. So.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so who was, I mean, everybody was so amazing. Who was your, well, no, I'm gonna leave that until the end, because that's the question that everybody hates, so I'm gonna leave that to the end. Who did you like better in drag?
Tony Curtis had better eyeliner. And I love how they overplayed the Marilyn look on their eyes, too.
But Jack Lemmon, didn't he have the double wing?
They both did.
When they were on the train, I felt like I noticed it. I noticed their eyeliner both, but I felt like Jack Lemmon, like he had like the black, and then he had the white.
The white?
His came out more, and I was like, damn, he has better eyeliner than I will ever have. Laugh. It's not fair.
No. As far as, yes, I think Tony made a better looking female, but I thought Jack did a better job of being a dude in chicks' clothing, because the first time I watched it, literally, as they're walking to the train, I'm like, has Tony Curtis dressed as a woman before? Because he has no problems whatsoever with this, you know?
He
And
got that little wiggle, sort of.
yeah, he was so into it. And I was like, and Jack, I felt like he didn't overplay it, because there was that, and I think that was part of the thing that I love so much about this movie, is there's a fine line between playing up the comedic value and then just taking it over the top into, like, you know, Dumb and Dumber territory. And I mean, not that that was a reference point back then, but like, even him walking to the train, it was just like that one moment of him falling in the heel and then just going on and on talking about how chilly we must get with all the wind going up our skirts and all that kind of stuff. And I absolutely thought that he played it so brilliantly, and that just, I don't know, him and Osgood doing the tango.
That's my favorite part of the whole movie. That was just hands down my favorite part. Rocking.
And then, like, how into the relationship he got. Like, well, I'm engaged.
I know. That whole line is still like, that's my favorite from the whole movie. Is he's like, I'm engaged. He's a lucky girl. I am. It's just like, he was just so like happy to be bride. When he wanted, wasn't he the one who wanted like nothing to do with the whole like Florida trip in the beginning, because he didn't want to have to dress like a girl? And Tony Curtis's character was like trying to talk
Like,
him into it, and it like went the other way.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, he was just like happy as a clam.
Oh, I love it.
Alright, Robin says, I don't think anybody really liked working with Marilyn. She was unfortunately a train wreck, not to put her down, but she had a lot of forces against her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? And that's why, again, going back to, like, one of the reasons why I like this film is because I feel like I don't know, like, she was trying to break away from a bit of what she had been kind of funneled into. I don't know, maybe I'm making things up, but that's just things I feel about.
Had been doing that for the last couple of years of her life, was trying to get away from that, like, hot kind of personality. But I think, you know, she just had a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Like, troubled girl.
Yolanda says that Marilyn didn't want to do black and white. If she had made a mistake, she demanded retakes. Some lines would take up to 40 takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yowza.
Yeah. And they would, like, write her lines in, like, when she was looking for the bourbon, they would write her lines in the drawers that she was pulling out, just to try and get her to remember the line. And that's one of the reasons why Tony Curtis didn't like working with her, because they were in heels. They were men in heels for 40 takes. So, not pleasant for a dude, I guess.
I guess I could understand that. Like, you know, how many times do we complain about that person at work? Mm-hmm. Well, now that I work for myself, I guess that's me. But that never seems to pull their weight, and you always got to pick up the slack for them. You know, to us it's Marilyn, to him it's a coworker. I guess a lot of people really, really love Jack more than Tony in the whole being a woman. I lost it. Hello?
Well, I feel like with Tony Curtis's character, and I feel like this in a lot of movies, at least the ones I've seen of him, he tends to play like a really kind of more obnoxious person. And then he has just the way he talks, he has like this very like smug tone to his voice. And I think it's just his natural voice, but it just sounds smug. So you've got like this and sort of like more annoying character, because Tony, I just felt like his character was sort of, I don't know, he was kind of like full of himself and obnoxious, and then he has like this smug tone to his voice. Even though he was funny and he was great in the movie, I just tend to not really like his characters very much. They tend to just be more annoying. He's always like the annoying person in the movie.
Yeah, I definitely, that's one thing I think is, I was like, I don't really see what Sugar's character fell in love with.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't feel like Jack's character as the faux millionaire and him dressed as a woman, there was no like real redemption to the character. I mean, maybe I'm going a little too deep into it, but I was just like, oh yeah, they ended up together, whatever. I felt like I was more invested in their storyline in reference to the gangsters and Spats, and Osgood and Daphne than I was with anything else. I mean, if it weren't for those two almost secondary storylines, I don't know if I would have loved the movie as much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's funny because like towards the beginning, like Jack Lemmon's character is the one who on the train takes the heat for the flask, and she's more connected to him. So it's sort of like if there was going to be a love interest between any of those three characters, you would have thought that she would have fell for his character because he saved her butt, you know? It was sort of like they didn't even know each other, but yet she goes for Tony Curtis, and you don't really see
It was
why.
the glasses.
yeah, that's right. Everybody makes passes and people in glasses.
Right.
Hildy is like, okay, my interest is a peak. Drag, wing liner, totally in.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Robin thinks that Tony should have been born a woman. um, Mona says, I love Jack's face when he sees Marilyn for the first time. It's like Jello on springs.
I wrote that down.
And it does. Yes, that whole, like, the moment you see Marilyn, you're just like hot diggity, all in, right?
The steam that comes out of the train, and she hops. So it's like the perfect entrance for a film.
That dress,
Yeah.
with the fur,
Feather, and yeah.
all in, all in. That's my favorite too in the morning, and he's shaking the mascaras, and so caught up with the romance. Oh, maracas. My mind is on the makeup. Sorry about that. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, Emily's got a good point. She says, I feel I see more effeminate features on Tony as a man, but in the movie, Jack seemed more effeminate.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, yeah.
He just seemed to embrace his inner girl band.
Yeah. People loving on the glasses. I love when Jack says he can't marry Osgood because he's a man, and Osgood's answer was, what did he say? Well, nobody's perfect.
I think Billy Wilder, that's actually what he put like in his memorial for like after he died. That's what he wanted to have said about him was, I'm a writer, but nobody's perfect, because that line became such an iconic, quotable line.
I love that. Mary says, hey, wasn't Marilyn's train dress, sorry to say it, monkey fur? Which could potentially have been. I mean, they pretty much used every animal back then. So, we condone faux fur. No, we support faux fur. We condone real fur. That's what I meant to say.
Condemn real cool.
Don't go shaving monkeys.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a song. Don't go shaving monkey fur. Get your own faux fur for your outfits to be classy. Oh
no!
Sad part is I could keep going, and I won't. PETA, call me. I know you want me in your commercial.
The new Sarah McLachlan, everyone.
I will be the Sarah McLachlan faux fur. So, okay. Let's get down to the gangster side of things.
All right.
The whole gangster storyline. Cliff Notes, loved it. As inaccurate as everything was, I loved all of it, every single little bit of it, because I felt like it captured the heart of everything. Because it wasn't like obviously, if they wanted to have made it more accurate, they could have.
Mm-hmm.
But it drives me nuts when they try to make it accurate and change things just for story purposes. This was more like tongue-in-cheek, like, it's not really the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but it is, you know?
Clark Street.
It is. This whole idea, like that opening sequence where they're driving the hearse and they're shooting, like they've got the booze hidden in the coffins. Totally did that back then. Speakeasies were mobsters in Chicago did own a lot of funeral homes, or they had them in their pockets. Some of them used as speakeasies. Oddly enough, here in Chicago, there's a barbecue place called Mrs. Murphy's and Sons. It used to be a funeral home back in the 20s, actually up until like the 70s. And back then, the North Side Gangsters actually owned that funeral home. It was in their pocket. And they used to pay families just a ton of money to be like, hey, can you have a closed casket? And they'd be like, sure. And what they would do is they would bury two bodies in it. It was how they got rid of a lot of their people. And they actually, a few years back here in Chicago, exhumed some of the corpses. And sure enough, there were two people in the coffins. So to me, even though they may not have been thinking that when they filmed that portion, to me that was almost like a little nod to that whole idea of it. And I was like, yeah, they did stuff like that. And when they get into the garage, it's obviously not the SMC Cartage Company. They would not have had private people keeping their cars there. But there were 7 dudes in there. They were all Tommy guns, you know. And the idea that they, Al Capone was never killed over the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, but he did get spanked rather hard by the head of the mafia because of it. But I love the whole nod to the fact that they're down in Miami. I mean, it's very well known that Capone did live out the remainder of his life down in Miami. So there were all these little nods to it that I absolutely, positively loved, and it didn't get under my skin that it was so inaccurate. And I just love that whole, like, Keystone Cops version of it when they're after them at the end and they're running through the hotel. Ah, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So what did you guys think of that part?
I loved it, yeah. It was very sort of like, I'm trying to think of the right word. Sort of like slapstick, comedy at the end when they're running back and forth all over through the hotel, and they all kind of like they get chased into different rooms, and then the mobsters come out, but they haven't come out. So it's sort of like this, nod to sort of like the slapstick comedy that was going on, during the late 20s and early 30s. So I thought I liked that part for those reasons, and because it was just funny to watch them run in heels too. So
I enjoyed that.
Sorry. I have a tickle in the back of my throat and I'm choking over here.
Oh no.
I even love, like, Yolanda, I think, was mentioning how she loved, like, the whole opening speakeasy scene.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that set the whole tone of the movie. But just the idea of them being like, oh, we're going to gamble our money away. And he's like, oh, don't risk it. And they're like, like the stock markets are going to crash. Like, Pickford's going to break up with Fairbanks.
Yeah, like all of those things actually came true. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of really thought out wit, I think, in the film. I appreciated a lot of that.
Yeah, so much. And it's jokes that have stood the test of time. Because a lot of times I think when we're watching these movies, like we've even talked about it, how you have to put what's being done in the context of when it's being filmed in, and half of it, like especially with like the Crosby, Bob Hope movies, like the Road to movies, like all the jokes in it are so specific to that time period, you don't get a lot of the jokes, but I feel like the jokes are so well written in this one that it just has done the test of time. And evidently, we've got some gangsta ancestors going on here in the comments section. Animal Rescue Geek. You liked my song, right? I called in all the cruelty-free people. Her grandfather and great-uncle distilled moonshine and ran it into the Kansas City area, and they did talk about runs to Chicago. Mona said Canadian booze could have been delivered to the Vermont-Canadian border by my grandfather. He was a runner during Prohibition. And Hildy says her grandfather-in-law did Missouri to Chicago, which is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. And this is all before there's like interstates. So these people are literally like in their Model T Fords, which okay, now I'm getting into tour guide speak, but Henry Ford was a teetotaler and totally for Prohibition, and Ford Model T Fords were the #1 car used by bootleggers to transport their alcohol, which I think is just hilarious. But yes, Capone had actually owned a lot of property up in Canada and made contacts up there to be able to bring all the booze down into the city of Chicago. Any Valentine's Day Massacre book recommendations? The Troy Taylor has a really good book. That's my boss. Blood, Guns, and Valentines, which actually covers Chicago mobster history really extremely well. And a lot of people didn't really. A lot of people believed like Sugar did, you know, like keep the booze coming, it's fun. And a lot of people really didn't see anything wrong with it, and a lot of police officers as well. So when a lot of people lost their jobs working for distilleries, because at that time, about 3/4 of the United States taxation revenue came from the taxation of alcohol. So not only did the United States lose money, but a lot of people lost jobs working for distributors and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people were like, I'll run some booze. What's the problem? For a lot of them, it wasn't any different than what they had been doing before, and a lot of people just looked the other way. Emily says no rum runner stories in her family, but her grandmother sold a bra to, can you guess?
Yeah.
Close, though, Elizabeth Taylor.
Stop it.
And Eleanor Roosevelt when she was young. Animal Rescue Geek did like my song. Uniquely Madison is loving on our glasses, Heather.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Zenny, where are yours from?
Kate Spades again.
Oh, nice. Animal Rescue Geek has a picture of her grandfather in a zoot suit and spats in front of his Model A. So what she's saying is that her grandfather was Spats in the movie.
Oh. Was there a toothpick?
Hildy says Rock Island, Illinois was mini Sin City in the day, just a few hours from Chicago. Vacation home for Al Capone up in Corduroy, Wisconsin. Hildy attended her first burlesque show in a place called the Speakeasy. Used to be one back in the day. Oh, Yolanda is going to throw her computer because it's being a dick. I may have paraphrased a little bit, but I think she would agree with the sentiment. Robin says he has to go. She has to go. Thanks for coming by. Mona drove a moon car made in St. Louis. Her cousin now has it, reconditioned it. Oh, that's very cool. And loving on hair color, which yeah, Heather is purple now. Ooh, girl.
I'm working my way around the color wheel. As you do.
I'm trying to think like if there's anything like a weird color that's on the color wheel that would be a weird hair color, but I don't think so.
I'm working my way to a weird one, if you can guess.
What would I don't see? But I don't think any would be blonde.
Actually, that would be weird for me, huh? No.
You'll show up one day with like mousy brown hair.
Like brown hair. No one will know me. Oh. My husband's like, who's this?
Oh, Alicia's got a good color that would be weird. Chartreuse.
That's what I was thinking.
Which actually, I love the color chartreuse, but yeah, as a hair color, wouldn't recommend it.
My hairdresser has neon yellow, and it's like neon.
I have plans.
Ooh,
Neon yellow and black underneath.
very cool.
Yeah.
I think we might have a neon Heather in our future.
We'll
Very
see.
excited about. Blanket Ford Adventure says, Heather, your new tagline should be, working my way through the color wheel.
Should I have Jen write a jingle for me?
I'm working my way through the color wheel. I feel like it's going to be a very 70s sitcom.
Like big bubbly letters of some sort. I'm going to need like the Three's Company. Like,
Yeah. There will be bell bottoms and leisure suits.
that's fine.
That's one thing I really wish this film had been in color.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the reason why it wasn't. Because the makeup on the men, when they shot in color, when they did test shoots in color, they looked green. And so they ended up not shooting it in color. Because actually Marilyn's contract stated any film that she did was supposed to have been in color, but because they couldn't get the makeup quite right on the guys and they really wanted it to look as genuine as possible, they had to shoot in black and white.
Because you know Curtis had to have a strong 5 o'clock shadow.
Right?
Yeah.
There was really no way he was passing.
Mm-mm.
Animal Rescue Geek Heather says you spin the color wheel and then the color where it lands, that like a new fashion makeover show.
We could have like polls, people could vote. No.
Oh, good Lord, the colors. And oh yes, we should have an album called Jen's Jingles. There's a lot of them. Even though my family begs me, please stop singing.
Yeah.
Because I do it way too often. Didn't they used to film in green makeup for black and white? I believe that they did, because like pink shows up in a really weird gray tone, which is why you'll never see me doing black and white photographs for the most part. But yeah, they, especially in the 20s and 30s, the makeup was especially heavy, and the colors they used were in reality would have been very, very strange. Here's some trivia for you ladies. Sounds like I actually said that, didn't I? It's Mona. Marilyn didn't wear red lipstick when the movies were black and white because red looked green. She wore pink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of times, if you can test it out on yourself too. You can either use like a pink or like a purple, a dark purple, and that'll look red when you turn things black and white. And you get a richer black too when you use like the green as your base. You get just a more natural looking color instead of like that ashy color.
See, this is why everybody needs a Heather in their life. Hildy says, "Oh my God, what a dick computer." Yeah, Yolanda, that was for you while you were gone. She said, does anybody know if Jack and Tony were actually playing their instrument? It looked like Jack was really playing the bass. I do not know if that is the case. I will say I like a man who can slap a bass.
Ooh, I did like it when they kind of described what hot meant when when they were on the bus and she's in a bunch of movies. The Sweet Soup, is that who?
Oh yeah.
And she's directing them and she's like, no, you need to play it hot. And that's when they start like slapping the bass and spinning it. I love that part too. I forgot about that.
That's fun. I'm trying to look up. Uniquely Madison might have to go soon because apparently sleep is something you have to do every day.
Oh. I did without it last night. Really, not that big of a deal.
Overrated.
Apparently.
There's 4.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I have not been able to find it, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say they may have because I know both of them actually are musical.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't seem Yolanda's husband plays bass. So it wouldn't seem out of character for them to play. Now, did they play as good as maybe they seem to play? Probably not, maybe. I don't know. It's a good question.
Apparently,
So,
Jack Lemmon could play harmonica, guitar, organ, and the double bass. And he recorded an album while filming Some Like It Hot. So it's very likely he did play.
There you go. So Tony Curtis is still up in the air, but who cares? I'm getting itchy in the armpits. Oh no. I think right now there's only about 100 fleas in there, so I think we're good yet. 900 more to go. So I can keep talking smack about him. Because really, who would fall in love with that character? I can't. That was probably the one thing that was a little over.
Had a thing for saxophone players too, right?
Huh?
Didn't she have a thing for saxophone players too? So they just made it up.
Which, by the way, like when she was talking about like her ex-boyfriend who threw like coleslaw at her because she brought coleslaw to the party instead of potato salad. I'm like, my God, it's Marilyn Monroe! Why don't you throw coleslaw at her? What is wrong with people?
Oh. I did like that she played the ukulele. That made me super happy.
Yes. How many people now want to actually learn how to play the ukulele after that?
I have one. I can.
Oh, that's right. You did buy one. Wasn't that on your Amazon? Like you bought it and then you were like
midnight. It was like midnight, and I bought a ukulele. I can play like 3 songs. They're Christmas songs though, so.
Maybe next month we'll make you play.
No. I'll play along to your jingles.
You can play along to my monkey fur jingle.
Yeah.
Oh, Mona said that she could actually see a little bit of Jamie Lee Curtis when Tony was in drag. Tony said he played his best Cary Grant impersonation.
For the millionaire? Yeah, I thought that, but I don't think it was a very good impersonation.
Marina says, I mean, Tony Curtis is dreamy. I think that was it. He was. Just.
You know what I think of when I think of Tony Curtis? The Flintstones. Do you remember Stoney Curtis from the Flintstones? I didn't know who he was when I was a kid until I watched the Flintstones.
Yeah, Emily says that she'll be waiting for the ukulele videos, Heather.
Right. I'll get right on that.
But apparently, Mona has a kazoo, so we are almost a band.
We're set.
Because I feel like JL could shake a mean maraca. I can kill it on the
I am
tambourine.
married to a drummer, so.
There you go.
Hildy says she had chartreuse hair and it looked awesome.
See?
See, you know what? There was a YouTuber, I can't think of who it was, that had chartreuse hair and it actually really worked on them. She had like thick black eyebrows and it looked amazing. I couldn't pull it off though. I would look permanently like ooh.
They look putrid.
And look like I should move into JL's house.
I'm gonna go to your goth club.
Not that JL's house is everybody's sick in JL's house. Oh god.
Yeah.
Like if people don't know, that's gonna sound really rude.
Wait, Sam, my house looks like barf?
No, people have been barfing in your house due to illness.
2 months, take 2 months.
Oh good lord. She'll beat me up in my sleep. Oh, Hildy was named Lisa Fremont Street's poster girl of the week with her chartreuse hair. We're gonna. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go look it up because I want to see it. But I can't do that right now because then it'll be silence on a thing and it'll be weird.
Can you see Stoney Curtis?
See, even as a Flintstones.
I can't see it.
I'm just gonna taunt you.
Taunt me, Tony Curtis. Blanket Fort Adventure says, by the way, we are the best Brussels sprout cook and entertainment.
Oh.
They're saying you guys have to see Tony in The Great Race. He's over the top gentleman heartbreaker. It's pretty funny. They put the teeth and eye glints in the film. Oh.
It's The Great Race.
League of Decency, Jen, and do remember the fleas. Oh goodness, Mona's gonna make sure I become a Tony lover. It's not that I just.
Is The Great Race with Natalie Wood? Because she wears an amazing like overall thing in that movie.
Think so, yeah, right?
Like she wears this like cool bib over. I don't know. Now I want to watch it.
All right.
I think so. It was a good movie. I like
Should we just make The Great Race our next film?
Oh.
It is with Natalie Wood.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I thought, yeah.
One of my all-time. I know we are so off topic tonight, but it is one of those nights. One of my all-time favorite Natalie Wood films is Splendor in the Grass. Like as a teenager, I would watch that movie and just sob.
Good one.
Good one.
Her whole story, man. Woo.
Right?
Yeah. Talk about
Just go through all the depressing actresses.
Yeah. Tick. Oh, a lot of love for that movie. Love that movie. Maybe we should do it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. So this is okay. Time for the hard questions. I think I know half of the answer already, and you guys in the comments are also have to answer this. Who could this movie not live without? And who could this movie live without? I will pick on JL tonight first.
Me? I do.
And I will say you can pick slightly minor characters for this.
Okay. The one that it can live without. I'm actually gonna say Tony Curtis because not because I don't like him, I don't like him as this character, but I do feel like there was potentially other actors who could have pulled off that character just as well. Like I don't feel like it's I don't know. Like I don't feel like it's necessarily like that's Tony Curtis's character, you know? Um I do agree. I feel like this is one of my favorite um roles that Marilyn did. This one and her role in Niagara are probably my two favorite because the characters were so different from every other character that she did play in her other movies. Like she tended to play these like over sexualized, really like dumb. Even though she said called herself dumb in this movie, she was very smart. Like her character was very like smart about her where she was going. Um, and I do like that she wasn't so breathy, like you said, like every word she said, there wasn't like this long exhale with the word coming out. I would be like, I hope you had a tic tac because that's a lot of air that you're pushing on everybody else. And I'm sure it was what the director was looking for because that's what they used her for. But it was nice to see her in like a comedy where she was sexy, but it had to do with like she was in an all-girl band and she was sort of like the front singer person for this band. So of course she's gonna wear like the half naked looking costumes because she's, kind of front and center. So, but I also liked that she wasn't so, I don't know, like she was gawked at, but not in a, I don't know, some of the other movies that she did, like the way her character was treated, I guess, by men, it was just different in this one. So that would be my long-winded answer.
Hmm.
I liked it.
And you, Heather, what did Heather think? Because Heather had a breath mint. Because that's what I think when I see her speak that way. Like, I hope they gave the girl a breath mint. Like, it's not fair to everybody else that they
I always wonder if she needs an inhaler.
Yeah. There's other medications that you should be taking besides the bottles that they've been giving you, and it's a pump. Take that away.
um, gosh, I don't know. There were quite a few characters that I liked how they played the role. But yeah, I think I may agree with the Tony Curtis thing, just because it was almost like um, as if a more serious, like a Dean Martin was playing that character. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that slapstick type person who would have really embraced the role, so I can totally see that. But then on the other hand, he was like the mastermind. So you kind of do want someone who is a little bit arrogant. So I can see the choice, but I do agree that he was just a little bit, it didn't elevate or do anything for the comedic element of the film, which is probably why Jack Lemmon won the Golden Globe. And I don't know, I'm going to say Jack Lemmon for me is like the one I couldn't lose. Just because of the way, the walk and the facial expressions and just the way he got into that character. I've never really enjoyed him in a film more, I think, than this film. So I have to say Jack Lemmon.
Nice. I like it that you guys go straight to the no side characters. I've trained you well. I agree. I'm gonna take Heather's side of this argument, and it's not because like Tony Curtis, as we've already discussed my feelings about him. But yes, I feel like um, he did play it very, very well, but I feel like, yeah, somebody else could have played that straight role as well. There were a few, like, moments that I really kind of liked for him, and that was like when he had run back to the hotel to dive into the bathtub and
Mm-hmm.
was like singing in the bathtub, and then after she left and he just sopping wet slowly gets out of the bathtub and like walks towards Jack Lemmon or
Mm-hmm.
Daphne. And he just starts like, "Oh, I'm not afraid of you. Yes, I am." And it's just that look on his face. So there were really key moments with Tony that I did really, really enjoy. So I feel like, because I feel like I come out like, totally hating on him. So I want to be clear that while I do think the film could have been just as good with somebody else, I do feel like there were moments. There were some moments, but yes, I could not live without Jack. He was this entire movie for me. Because, like I said, to me, it could have almost have been, Jack and Osgood movie. I mean, even the very end of the movie is the two of them. Him
Mm-hmm.
being like, "I smoke. You can't marry me. I smoke. I'm a man. I can't have children." That
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff.
We'll adopt them.
Yeah.
And I couldn't give up Osgood because I don't think anybody could have played that character
Mm-hmm.
as more charming, because I feel like anybody else, it would have just come off more like annoying or just a little bit too much. But it was just this, I don't know, just this idea of this like mama's boy, wealthy mama's boy who's like, how old was he in the movie? Wasn't young, you know.
He's almost like the alternate version of the character from Laura. Like he's like if that character had gone good, he could
Yeah.
have gotten Osgood.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Everybody else is saying, Mary is saying you need Jack, replaceable Tony, even though he was dreamy. Animal Rescue Geek says, do we even know if these were the first director's picks or not? Do
They
we?
weren't. Jack Lemmon was supposed. There were a few people. I think Jerry Lewis turned down the role of Jack Lemmon's character, and also Frank Sinatra.
Ooh.
The Frank and Tony's?
See, I was thinking Frank and Jack.
Oh, no, I was thinking
Frank playing Tony's role.
Yeah. That would have been a very interesting.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't think I would have liked this movie as much with Jerry Lewis.
Mm-mm.
Why Marilyn fell for Frank Sinatra character.
Everybody fell for Frank Sinatra.
That would be more believable in the very end.
I could buy
because
it.
he does have that ineffable, is that even the right word, charm to him,
Mm-hmm.
that like a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I'm not really like a huge Frank person, and then I'll like see him in a movie or listen to him sing, and then I'm like, no, I am.
Yeah.
Still
But
trying.
he's got like that good like kind of mastermind like thing about him. He's still a little bit arrogant.
Mhm.
And he's musical, so you could see that, side of it. So, yeah.
I just feel like the mob wouldn't be scared of Frank. Wouldn't be scared of the mob. They'd
Yeah,
be scared of him.
True.
Um,
Allowed his acting chops for that part.
Mary said that the bellboy bugged her.
Oh, I agree, Mary.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of him.
Yeah.
I think he's still the guy from the Wes Anderson movies, though. In like Grand Budapest, he's in all of Wes Anderson's movies, and he annoys me too. So.
Blanket Fort Adventure says, I've never been a Marilyn fan. Am I the only one? No, I don't think so.
I
I mean,
see a lot
honestly,
of hate out there.
yeah. I mean, I love Marilyn as a person. Some of her movies I don't like so much because I don't like the whole like just pure sex kitten version of her. And that's why I tend more towards like the end of her career movies than I do the beginning, because there's a lot more there. Um, Alicia says, not live without Jack. He draws me into the story more. Live without Tony could have been Cary Grant. That would have been a good cast.
That actually would have been great.
Yeah. Animal Rescue Geek says, with Marilyn, don't know if it was that she didn't have much to bring to the role or their only role she could get. I didn't care for her either. Alicia says, ooh, Cary Grant. Wait, who? Marita and Maureen. Who's Rita? Hildy says I'm partial to Rita and Maureen. Not that. Oh, vampy, sexy women. Rita Hayworth, Maureen O'Hara. I'm guessing. Not that she doesn't like Marilyn, but apparently I have a thing for redheads. Who doesn't, Jill? Rita would have been amazing. Emily says her issue with Marilyn's acting comes from what I read in a bio. She had her acting coach on the sidelines feeding her the lines and basically telling her how to play the part. I just don't feel like that was acting. It's true. Mona says Osgood wanting Jack to wear his mother's lace wedding dress was hilarious. Daphne. Yolanda's also mentioning, I think Yolanda might have been out when we were discussing our adoration for the tango scenes with Daphne and Osgood. Dean Martin versus Tony. Now that's a fight I'd pay to see. Blindfolds to funny. Blindfolds to funny. If you had Dean Martin, then you would have to get Jerry Lewis. Yeah, and I couldn't have done. I don't. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Jerry Lewis?
Humor was completely different than what I think this film required. Like, it was a little too clean cut, maybe.
I think Jerry Lewis would have taken it too far. I think that they hinted at the slapstick without going.
Dumb and Dumber with it?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like the right word, but I mean it's kind of like it was funny because of the situation that they were in. Whereas I feel like Jerry Lewis movies are funny because he does slapstick so well. Like he's so overboard, you know. It's kind of like there's another like more modern actor that died recently that was like that. Like Robin Williams, you know, he was very overboard. So his movies that were funny because his characters were really overboard, but that's because it's who he was. So like that's kind of how Jerry Lewis was. Like he was really like everything was you know, he's almost like a cartoon. Whereas this, it was the situation that they were in. They were making light of it, and so that worked for Jack Lemmon's character. So it wasn't like it required slapstick comedic actors, but they were in sort of that environment.
Yeah. Because I feel like Jack was just having like a shit ton of fun with it, you know? And where, like you said, JL, like Jerry would have brought his slapstick to it, which would have been over the top.
Yeah.
Agree.
Blanket Ford Adventure says, wasn't Frank besties with the mob in real life? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Jerry Lewis would have been too much. Jack was balanced in his slapstick. Frank owned the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, allegedly. Pal Joey was great.
Oh,
Pal Joey with Frank and Rita, love that one.
That's a good one.
I like that one.
That's a really good one.
And if you haven't seen it, I think that one's on Netflix. Right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And Hildy did tag us in her Fremont Street chartreuse hair.
I remember that photo, Hildy.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
Cute.
Yeah, and it does look so good on her.
Yeah, I love it.
Because I like that it looks like it's part like the lighter green and a little bit of darker green in there as well. So pretty. Sorry, I'm just looking at how gorgeous you guys are. Ah, Blanket Fort Adventure says, Mona, totally sigh. I wish I could visit Vegas during the golden age, but then I'm half Asian, so visit as a blonde white chick. Yeah. That's the thing is like with the whole retro thing is I wish that like you could just transport like the retro style and all the things that we love about the past and like stick it in the sci-fi future. Like combine like all the goods. That would be good. I would love a time machine and to go back and visit different eras. I would. Yeah. I'd probably end up dead though because I would get in trouble. You know, show up in, you know, medieval time, you know, do the wrong thing.
God.
They would just take one look at your hair and be like, she's a witch.
Burn her.
Yeah. And I can't hold my breath very well, so I would not be good times for me.
No.
I don't think doing any Monty Python is going to get you out of it. Because that's what I see happening. And Jen's going to need somebody behind her with, like...
I'll just be like, quick, jail, come, say you're the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody will expect you.
You're on your own. You're on your own this time. Because I'm not a witch.
Oh, yeah, that's why I can only travel with the doctor.
Oh.
All right, so we are a little bit. Any idea for our next movie, Jen? Where the angels go, trouble follows. Because I think we are due for a drama at this point, right? Is that what's kind of up next?
Yeah.
And where angels go, trouble follows. Is that a drama? Sounds like it might be dramatic. Because, so no idea yet. If you guys have ideas for the movies, please put them on either the video on YouTube once it goes up, or our Facebook pages, Instagrams, whatever. Tweet us, whatever is easiest for you. Because unfortunately, the comments that are fun in the comment section, some of them randomly will show up in the comment section, but most of them do not. Like I'm talking maybe 3 or 4 of the comments that you've made tonight have. There is supposedly a new way to live stream, like a beta version of it out there, and quite frankly, I'm too scared to try it because one time when I tried to, it didn't work very well. So I don't know. Maybe we might have to test it again. From Here to Eternity, yes, because you say you are always getting in trouble, so that's why the movie I suggest. Oh. Now I definitely want to watch it. So stay tuned to our social media accounts to find out what the next movie is going to be. And, you know, obviously half of what we talk about has nothing to do with movie, but, you know, that's what's fun about Movie Club because, you know, we're not film students, right?
Even though we sound like we know what we're talking about, this is like literally just our pulling this out of our...
Yeah. We've been our way through this.
We are normal people that have opinions that like to talk about them. Right. Right? Get around. So follow us on, if you don't all, I think everybody does, but if you don't already, please go find Heather at How to Be Fancy, Jill at Modern Retro Gal on all the social medias, and me as well, Jennifer as A Vintage Vanity. Or you can check me out as Atomic Starlet, the clothing line. I'm trying to get better at plugging myself, which evidently not so good at. So thank you guys so much for coming out. We had so much fun with you guys. Mona will message for details on Chicago tour guide information if you don't have a chance to talk about it. Yes, please. I would love to talk about that. I know Mary's actually Vintage Camper Gals coming to Chicago in the fall. She's going to take a weird Chicago tour, so that will be fun. I can't wait to see you. So thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, and you guys are fabulous. We love it. This is quickly becoming our favorite time of the month. See what I did there? All right, guys. Have a great night, and we will see you all soon. I don't, Heather and JL, do you have anything you want to say?
Bye.
JL?
Yes. What?
Do you want to say goodbye?
Oh, all I heard was a blue. And I was like, okay.
She only listens to my every 10th word.
Pretty much tune her out.
Yeah. It's enough
Bye,
to get, I
everybody.
use a lot of words.
I just say goodbye. Bye.
Good night, everybody. And we're just going to close on they're laughing hysterically.
Also not.